Blessings, beloved brothers and sisters. I do hope you're well. Welcome to the Yearning Soul Christian Lifestyle channel. My name is Grace Khawepi and I'm joined by my very handsome husband, Dominic Khawepi. And so we finally get to do our wedding season vlogs. You know, we are in the marriage ministry, and it's so it's so interesting because we haven't been recording as much on marriage, and it's actually what it is that we actually do. And so, beloved brothers and sisters, if you're joining us for the very first time on this channel, welcome to our loyal viewers. A very big welcome. If you're new again to this channel, the purpose for this channel is literally to build people and to build families through the Christian faith. And so today we have a very, very important topic. So before we get into the topic, please do not forget to subscribe to this channel and to share this beautiful channel with your beautiful family members and friends. And so the topic for today is what should Christian men and women be looking for in a spouse during the dating phase. And beloved brothers and sisters, we all mean well. We all want this fairy tale that Hollywood has sold us. But the reality is, what should we actually be keeping an eye out for? And again, that being said, beloved brothers and sisters, when you meet your potential spouse or when you meet your potential spouse, they will literally not be perfect and fully prepared, but the basic foundations should be in place. Because again, we cannot build a house on a shaky foundation. Every house needs to be a solid foundation, and I cannot stress how important the man is in this regard, because the man is literally the foundation in marriage. He is the head. He is the leader. He's the one that God gives the vision. He leads the family. You know, he's the foundation, and the house is built from that foundation. And so when we compromise certain basic characteristics within the people who are called to head the marriage, it can be a complete disaster. It eventually shows in marriage that the red flag that you know the red flag that we kind of like overlook becomes the major deal breaker, or the scorching fire, or the thorn in the flesh that we now begin to wrestle with during marriage. And that being said, we're not here presenting a perfection. My husband and I were far from perfect when we met. Yep. You know, I was half Christian, you know, half New Age, half lukewarm. I grew up in a Christian household, some of you may know. And, you know, and God being merciful, you know, he was still walking with me, still speaking to me. And I actually went through a season and a period where I was literally spending time with God for like a whole year, not realizing that as God was preparing me during that time, that it was actually preparing me for marriage. And so, but we will chat about that and go into details about that within the vlogs to come. But today, since my husband is here and we finally are able to be able to merge our schedules together, that we can finally get to hear from him his wisdom, you know, on what he thinks. And so, my beloved husband, what should a Christian man or woman be looking for during the dating phase in a spouse, potential spouse?
So we'll provide some thoughts, not exhaustive thoughts, not prescriptive thoughts, but things that I believe are principles that one should look at that can then enable you having an easier experience once you get into marriage. Dating is beautiful. And also dating can be a pack of a bunch of lies, because we're all amazing salespeople.
Oh, yes.
Who are trying to sell ourselves, who are brilliant at marketing, who are brilliant at PR.
Yes.
And then the things that we hide in dating then get exposed within marriage.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So I think probably quality number one that women should look for where a guy is concerned. It also applies from guys to women, but let me speak from a perspective of a man that should be ready or showing signs of being married, is his character.
Okay.
So the character of the man is extremely important. And the character of the man is not by what he says, but what it is that you observe him do.
Yes.
And there's a quote that goes that to judge the character of the man, don't judge him not by what he does, but what he does that he doesn't have to do. And to judge the true character of the man, it's by what he does when nobody's looking. It is those things that we do that when nobody's looking that will determine, right? Whether our marriage stands or whether our marriage falls, whether we maintain trust within the relationship or whether we break it. A man without character, it doesn't matter how gifted he is, it doesn't matter how talented he is, because whatever he builds based on his gifts, his lack of character will destroy it.
Wow.
Not it might. It will.
Yeah.
So it's extremely important that you view those things and pay attention to his character. Is this a man of principle? Does he subscribe to particular values? Is he consistent with those values in what it is that he says and how it is that he behaves with the people that he hangs around with?
Oh, yes.
So whenever you see any of those contradictions, that's something to pay attention to, and whether it's a good idea to walk down the aisle with this individual and make this covenant versus this has been a great experience, but actually to build a lifelong relationship might not be a great idea. Yeah.
And also, beloved brothers and sisters, well done, my love. I mean, you spoke it so well, character. You know, you're looking for someone who is responsible, someone who is disciplined, someone who has a good heart, someone who's compassionate, you know. Again, beloved brothers and sisters, you want to yoke yourself to someone after hurting you, or the family will be grieved because that person has a conscience. You know, so often in these days, women are hooking up with people with narcissistic personality disorder, as some of you guys would have, you know, known by now. And you hook up with people that seemed amazing at first, you know, who just, you know, took your breath away. You know, they seemed charismatic, you know, they seemed to be glittering, because a lot of us women, again, it's so easy for us to fall into the trap of looking for glitter. And remember, not all that glitters is gold. And I've heard so many women saying that he has to have a six-pack, you know, he has to be very tall, you know, he has to have lots of money. Again, everything rooted in fairy tales and fantasies, and not on the reality of, is this person a builder? Can they build? Are they good at building people around them? Are they good at whatever they touch, they literally build it. It becomes better, you know, than when they had begun with that thing, you know. And we go on to marry red flags, you know, people that were charming, people that look like a beautiful show, but without character to sustain and to build something tangible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think a practical example within our relationship, how I got a glimpse into my wife's character, was in one of our conversations. She shared a story regarding how it is that she was in the choir. There was an international trip that was going to happen, and she did not have those finances at home from that basis. But she made a plan, and over a period of a year was able to hold gigs, was able to build relationships, and eventually was able to earn enough in order to go overseas. In that one story, I was sold. I was like, okay, this is a person that I can see is a thinker, a person who's resourceful, a person who has vision. I can build with this one. So pay attention to those stories as you're dating, because it's often in those stories where you can get a glimpse insofar as who is this person really, rather than the salesperson that you have in front of you whilst we're dating.
Oh, bless you, my love. And for me, if I were to share, this is not about our love story, but I can see it's going there. And for me, a simple story like how my husband, when he was, you know, a child, how he was able to literally see this dog that was injured, him taking it home and nursing this dog that was almost to the point of death, you know, over a long period, nursing this dog to complete life, you know, as a young boy who didn't, you know, have much money and was willing to cook every day and do something for the dog. You know, to me, that spoke of compassion. You know, and again, to some of you, you might not be animal lovers and you might wonder what's the point in all of that. But if a person is able to respect and look after those that can do nothing for them, there you found a genuinely compassionate person, you know, who gives when they don't have to, you know, who looks after when they don't have to. And I think that as well as my husband comes from humble beginnings. Both of us come from humble beginnings, and how literally the Lord has been able to how you know, he became literally a black deputy head boy of his school, you know, and what a good leader he was, and how, you know, he was able to, he didn't have the money, but was able to get, you know, a bursary to go into Rhodes University, and how he was so focused in just trying to escape his previous past to just get something better. And for me, that spoke of character that is able to go against all odds to build something tangible. And it touched my heart. But more than that was his heart and his hunger for vision and his hunger to build. Yeah. That is what drew me to him. Because again, even if a person doesn't have money, as long as they have vision, you know, and a hunger to build, even if that person has 5 rands in their pocket, you can land in the desert and you'll build something tangible with them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's a second point that you can look for, you know, potential spouse. Does this person have vision?
Oh, yes.
Where are they going? What is the vision and purpose that they have for themselves in life? Because that which they are demonstrating in the dating phase, they can be able to build on in the marriage phase.
Yeah.
If the person is going nowhere during dating, don't think that just because they're married now, all of a sudden they're going to have energy and come up with ideas in order to go somewhere.
Yeah.
That which is lacking in from a dating perspective will get magnified by the time you get into marriage. And so vision is extremely important because it is that vision that will fuel us. It is that vision that will enable us to be able to build. It will be that vision that will enable us to go beyond even that which is good for our family. But what are we contributing to the community and the society in which we're in? So vision is extremely important because it also demonstrates that this person is not just about the vibes right now.
Yes, the vibes.
You'll never finish vibes. The vibes will always be there.
Yes.
We grow older as people. Okay? You'll never finish the fun in the world. The world will move on. There's always a new generation that is coming in. That is going to be the in generation and the it girls and the it boys who are vibing. The vibes are for now.
Yes.
But in order to build a life together, it's around, does this person have a vision? And this applies equally to both men and women.
Yeah. And a kind reminder to our ladies again, because the man is the foundation. You know, and remember that whilst we have the luxury of choosing the heads of our households, our children don't have the luxury of choosing their own father. So you're literally choosing your children's father.
Do a favor, make a favor for them.
Do a favor for them. You know, just make sure you choose the right father for them. You know, and it is so important, again, beloved brothers and sisters, because the man is the captain of the ship. You know, and so often as women, we board the ship, you know, hoping it's going to land at a favorable destination or where we are planning to go, because we didn't ask the right questions. We were afraid to ask the right questions of where are you going? Because where you are going is where you're taking me, right? Because again, the person that leads you, you know, is the person that you'll have to submit everything, your career, yourself, your own vision has to go and be under his authority, you know. And so many women are suffocating under the leadership, you know, of men that are insecure, men that don't even have a large vision or any vision at all. And, you know, and a lot of women are dying in suffocation. And, you know, we've heard women saying that if I take on this job, that's going to make me earn 3 times more than my spouse. It means the ending of my marriage. And so I cannot take that job. And it's important again that the captain of the ship, where are you taking us? And do I like where you're taking us? And if I don't hear something tangible about where you're going, I don't have to board your ship, you know, because I'm not going to board a ship where you are taking me to a place that is unfavorable, especially if I also have a vision for myself, you know. And I think that's very important. Where are you taking me? Where are you taking us, our kids? Where are you taking our generation? You know, it's very important to have that vision for yourself and not to think, I just love him. You know, he's exciting, he's fun, it's vibes. You know, you have to think beyond the now and look into the future. Can I build something that is tangible, that will glorify God with this person? And if not, cut your losses, move on. It's time to, you know, move on to the next person.
Yeah. Which then brings me to point number 3. Okay, does the person know the Lord?
Oh, yes.
ideally it should be number one, but we understand the practicalities of the world. Whenever we're dating, we are putting in our best foot forward. We tell, you know, when you really like a person, especially guys to ladies, a guy will tell you whatever it is he knows you want to hear, in order for him to get what it is that he desires from you. But him knowing the Lord is something that's extremely important, because it will provide a basis, it provides a foundation, it provides a direction for your family. You need to understand, you know, is this man submitted to an authority?
Oh, yes.
That is above him. Because if you engage with a man who is not submitted to authority, it is a man who answers to nobody. Right? That is going to bring about a lot of pain within your marriage, because things do inevitably go wrong. Challenges do arise. We go through cycles. And I need to ensure that I am a man that is submitted to an authority that is beyond me, so that I know during tough times, where do I draw from? Am I the God of my own life, or do I submit to a higher authority from which I can draw strength from which I can draw wisdom from which I can draw direction insofar as how do I steward my family well? How do I steward my family faithfully? How do I love my family? Not from my own ideas, but from the ideas of the ultimate Father. Right.
Thank you so much, my love. Again, that speaks to accountability. Is the man accountable, you know? Or is he the sort of person who refuses to be accountable, you know? And those are serious red flags. Again, if he's hurt you, is he willing to be accountable to say, I have messed up and I've seriously messed up. I am sorry. Both men and women need to be willing to be accountable. But if he refuses to be accountable, you are better off alone. I'm telling you right now, a lot of disasters are coming from a lot of men not having learned how to be responsible and accountable to righteousness.
Being aligned in your belief system will save you a lot of pain, will save you a lot of inconvenience within your marriage. It doesn't mean that you'll have a pain-free marriage, no, but it matters that those which are fundamentals we are aligned on. In this family, we have declared, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. If that's where we've submitted ourselves, wonderful. We've engaged in couples that within their marriage, you know, one is submitted to the Lord, one is submitted under traditional ancestry. And so those are two different altars that will always be warring
in the
against
house.
each other. And in the word it says that a house that's divided against itself cannot stand.
Shall not stand.
And marriage will expose that. So it will expose it very quickly.
And you know what, it's absolutely true. It's so easy for us to say, you know, whilst we're in love and everything is rosy and we just caught up in this fairy tale we've bought into, it's so easy for us to say it's not important that he's born again, you know. It's not important, you know, he's a good guy, until, you know, you go through a situation now in marriage where, you know, now your children now have had to have their skin incisions happening, cultural incisions on their skin. Now your children are taken to traditional healers, and now you don't even have a say, you know. It's so easy to get caught up in this bubble, until now when you're married, you're like, oh my goodness, now it means a traditional healer needs to come into this home and do all these things, putting things that now I need to literally fight in the night, because it's demonic spirits and not everyone is aware of that. And so sometimes you hear wives saying these things are literally coming for me at night because I'm Christian now, and the head of my house, you know, he invited this traditional healer. Now there are spirits in the house, and now I can't even sleep at night. I'm praying against this thing, and now you find this division in the house, and then divorce inevitably happening. So to avoid yourself the trouble, if he's not submitted to God, treatment like fruits once again. If the foundations are not ripe, put him back on the shelf. Put him back on the shelf. And until God works on him, his character, his heart, until he's submitted to God, it will be easier for you to submit to a man who's submitted to God. A man that is not submitted to God, that is not accountable to any person, do not submit to him. Literally, we've seen this over and over again. It would be better for you to literally get a dog in your house than to submit to a man that is not submitted to God.
The fourth thing I can raise is, how does this man love you?
Oh, yes.
Does he just say the words, I love you, but in his actions you feel unloved? Or does he love you by his actions? because when he loves you by his actions, that's what he needs to demonstrate, because he will know insofar as how he will love even within marriage. And, you know, in the marriage context, we're called to love sacrificially as husbands. Marriage is a very serious thing, because, you know, from a biblical context, as husbands, we are called to love and be willing to lay down our lives.
Oh, amen. Yes, sacrificially.
And so it's a type of love that is demonstrated. It's not the Hollywood love, you know,
Yeah.
where you're doing just the grand gestures and it's the
flowers
and it's the
all the
performance
fleeting stuff.
and what people see about you and
Yeah,
what it is that you
on social media.
That will not hold a marriage. That which will hold a marriage is, does he love sacrificially?
Yeah.
Does he love by his actions? Is he a man that is demonstrating that I will act to your benefit, regardless of how it is that I feel? Even when I don't like you at this moment, but will I still love you by my actions? That's then an indicator that this will be a good husband, a good father, a good head of the home.
Thank you so much, my love. Oh, beautiful words. And you know what, beloved brothers and sisters, let me close with the last point. Another point that I'd love to bring is that, again, beloved brothers and sisters, marriage will go through cycles. Look at your grandparents who are married for many years. You know, yes, you might say we want this woman with the best figure, you know, this man with a six-pack. We lose all that. The reality is 95% of women do gain weight in marriage. And if you don't believe me, look at your grandparents' pictures, their wedding day versus when they died, okay? So you don't want someone who is forever chasing fairy tales and fantasies. You want someone who can build with you and stay, whether you're at your best or at your worst, until you come back to your best. You know, it doesn't mean that now we don't work on ourselves, but true love, genuine love, is someone that is able to sit with you even when you are at your worst, even when you are unlovable. That discipline and commitment and that love makes them to say, I'm still here to build with you. You are my person. I chose you till death do us apart. Because let me tell you what, the worst does happen in marriage. And so when the worst happens, the foundations of that love becomes exposed. Yeah. Do we really have something strong and tangible here? Or was it all just, you know, the shallow stuff, you know? There'll be times when your spouse is sick, you know. There were times when I was sick, when my husband was looking after me, when he was bathing me, when I was sick. There was a time when he was sick, you know, and I was looking after him as well. And that's marriage, you know. And it's not the good, glorious, perfect spouse with the perfect body and the perfect face and the perfect, you know, money, you know, perfect bank balance, you know. And as soon as that's not in place, then I need to leave. And I weep for this generation because we don't understand what true commitment is.
It's doing life together. It's life.
We don't value nor understand what true commitment is. It's staying even when you don't feel like staying, you know, and saying, God, I don't know, I'm going to stay here, you know, because I said till death and I want to honor you. And until the love returns. I mean, I've heard a pastor says that you stay when the love is gone until it returns, you know, and because every marriage goes through cycles. There are times when you're less in love with each other and there are times when you're head over heels with each other, and it's part of the cycle. It doesn't mean that now just because your spouse is less lovable that you get to jump ship and get to go find to say, I fell out of love, now I'm in love with somebody else. Love is a choice. It's whom you have chosen to stay with them as the covenant you have made. You respect that covenant, you know, until, you know, death, you know, only death releases you from the covenant, you know. And so that being said, beloved brothers and sisters, we'll be recording more videos, you know, on marriage. You know, we've got so many fun videos coming up. And please do stay tuned. And remember, beloved brothers and sisters, please also share your you know, give us your feedback on where are you at. Are you looking for a spouse, praying for a spouse, or is marriage not for you, or have you been married? And if you have been married, how long have you been married for? You know, how are you finding marriage? You know, we also run online marriage course, Zoom course sessions. They are absolutely free. We're still going through a course that we're doing right now. And we're just completing that cycle, and then we'll post new dates of the next available dates for the course, you know. And we just love doing this. Marriage is so precious to God, you know. It's one thing that builds the foundation, a godly foundation, and raises godly offspring. And so we're very, very passionate about this. That being said, beloved brothers and sisters, we have to bounce, and we love you so much. And remember, do not stop yearning for the divine presence, move, and blessing of God. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Until we meet again, cheers.